Hey everyone, you know we're always on the lookout for tools and resources that can help you take your music production to the next level.
Absolutely.
Well, today we're diving into something really special. A
Oh,
limited time deal over at Audio Plugin Deals that caught our eye.
I love those guys. Always have some great deals.
Right. This one is for a bundle called Symphonic Orchestra plus Hollywood Choirs.
Ooh,
Oh,
interesting. By EastWest Sounds, right?
you know it. And let me tell you, this is not your average sample pack, no sir.
What makes it stand out?
Well, first of all, it tackles a pretty major challenge for a lot of music creators.
Which is,
Getting that huge, expansive sound of a real live orchestra and choir.
I can definitely see how that would be tough to replicate.
Totally. And, EastWest Sounds is known for their top-notch recordings, right?
Oh, yeah, their stuff is really high quality.
Exactly. And this deal makes their tools way more affordable, especially for folks who maybe aren't, Hollywood film composers or seasoned pros.
Right, so it's not just for the big guys.
Not at all. Anyone who's making music, whether it's beats in their bedroom or scoring for an indie film, could really benefit from having these sounds in their arsenal.
I bet.
Can you imagine adding a soaring string section to your latest track?
Ooh, that'll be epic. Or like some ethereal choral vocals. Ooh, to create a certain atmosphere.
Exactly. It's those kinds of elements that can really elevate your music to the next level, give that professional cinematic quality that we're all after.
I'm already sold. What's the deal?
Okay, so get this. The bundle includes two of East West's heavy hitters. You ready for this?
Hit me.
East West Symphonic Orchestra and Hollywood Choirs. Usually this combo would set you back almost $600.
Yikes. That's a lot of dough.
Yeah, big time. But right now, on audio plug-in deals,
Drum roll, please.
it's only $129.
Shut the front door.
I know, right? Wild.
So basically getting both for the price of one.
Pretty much. Especially considering how much you're getting. I mean, it's nuts.
Okay, break it down for me. Let's start with the Symphonic Orchestra.
Okay, so this bad boy was recorded by Grammy-nominated Professor Keith O. Johnson.
Impressive.
I know, right? And it was recorded in a world-class concert hall, no less. They captured every nuance of every instrument with just, incredible fidelity.
Sounds like they didn't cut any corners.
Not a single corner. And get this, it's got multiple microphone positions.
Oh, wow. How many are we
You
talking?
got your close mics, your stage mics, and even hall mics.
Ooh, so you can really fine-tune the sound.
Exactly. It's like having a virtual mixing desk for an entire orchestra at your fingertips.
So cool. But what difference does it make having all those positions?
Well, think about it. The close mics give you that super detailed, intimate sound.
Makes sense.
So you could use those to really highlight specific instruments, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got the stage mics, which capture the overall blend and balance of the entire ensemble.
Yeah.
And then the hall mics, those will give you that spacious ambient dimension.
Ah, that's what makes it sound so live.
Exactly. No need to mess around with artificial reverb plugins trying to fake that concert hall sound.
It's already baked right in.
Boom. Exactly. You're getting the authentic sound, the real deal.
That's got to save a lot of time in post-production.
Tons of time. And you know what else? It ensures a much more realistic and immersive sonic experience for the listeners.
They won't know what hit them. All right, so we've got the orchestra side covered.
Yes.
What about the Hollywood choirs part of this package? What's so special about this choir?
Okay, so these vocals were created by two really big names in the industry,
Lay it on me.
Doug Rogers and Nick Scenix.
Wow.
You know those guys.
Of course. They've worked on tons of huge blockbuster scores.
Exactly. So we're talking about top-tier, professional-grade vocals ready to add that epic cinematic touch to any project.
So you're saying my tracks are about to sound like they belong in a Marvel movie?
Hey, anything is possible. But there's more. This choir comes with a really cool feature.
Oh, what is it?
It's called Word Builder 2. Have you heard of it?
Word Builder 2. Rings a bell. Remind me.
It basically allows you to have the choir sing any word or phrase you want in multiple languages.
Wait, seriously? Like I can type in anything and they'll sing it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Imagine the possibilities. You could have them singing in Latin for a dramatic historical piece.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Or maybe you're scoring a video game and you need them to chant some made-up spell.
Wow, that really opens up some creative doors.
Right. It's pretty mind-blowing.
No kidding. So you're telling me I'm not limited to just pre-recorded phrases or sounds?
Nope. You're essentially conducting your own virtual choir, shaping the performance to fit whatever you're working on.
That's insane. But wait, what if I need them to sing in another language? Do I need to, like, actually know the language to make it work?
Great question. You don't actually have to be fluent.
Phew.
The bundle actually includes 237 pre-built word builder phrases.
Oh, wow. So they got you covered.
Totally covered. And they're in a bunch of different languages.
Oh.
English, German, Italian, Spanish, and even Latin.
Yeah.
I know, right? So much to play around with. Honestly, this whole bundle seems like it could be a total game changer for music creators.
Especially at that price, it sounds like a no-brainer.
It really does. Especially if you've been thinking about diving into orchestral or choral sounds, but maybe felt intimidated by the cost,
Yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming.
Or maybe you just thought it was too complicated.
I've definitely been there.
Well, this deal makes it so much more accessible for everyone.
I love that. Music production for the people.
Exactly. But hold on, there's one important thing to keep in mind. This deal
Don't tell me.
isn't going to last forever.
Oh, man, of course. What's the catch?
It's only available for a limited time, 8 days to be exact.
Oh, wow, that's not a lot of time to decide.
Nope. So if you're even remotely interested, you got to jump on it.
You heard it here first, folks.
You don't want to miss out on this one.
All right, so what's next? Should we dive into the technical stuff now?
You bet. Next up, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of these tools, talk about how they work, and give you some examples of how they can be used in different musical contexts.
Ooh, sounds good. I'm ready.
So stay tuned, folks. This deep dive is just getting started.
You know something I think a lot of people don't realize about these orchestral libraries?
What's that?
The amount of work that goes into actually recording them.
Yeah, I bet.
It's not just like they stick a mic in front of an instrument and call it a day, you know?
Right, there's got to be more to it.
So much more. It's about capturing the essence of each instrument, like its unique character and how it responds to different playing techniques.
That makes sense. I guess I've tried some orchestral sample libraries before, and sometimes
Yeah.
they just sound kind of,
Fake.
like robotic or artificial.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
That happens a lot with libraries that rely too much on synthesized sounds.
So it's all about the source material.
Exactly. And in the case of EastWest Symphonic Orchestra, the recordings themselves are incredibly detailed. Like, they've captured a crazy range of articulations, dynamics, performance nuances.
So you can really get expressive with it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's not just about having the sound of a violin. It's about having a violinist's entire range of expression.
From like a really delicate phrase to a super aggressive stroke.
Exactly. And, the same goes for the choir, too.
Really?
With Hollywood choirs, you're not just getting a basic sound. You're getting all the subtle details of individual voices blending together, like a full choir hitting a massive crescendo.
Wow, okay.
Even like the tiny breaths between phrases,
Huh? I never would have thought about that.
It's all in there. It makes a big difference, though.
Yeah, I could see how that would add another level of realism.
Yeah.
Kind of brings the whole thing to life.
Exactly. And what's really cool is how much those subtle details can actually impact the listener on a subconscious level.
Subconsciously.
Yeah. You might not consciously notice the difference between a generic string sound and a super high quality recording of a real violin.
Right.
But your brain picks up on those subtle nuances anyway,
Interesting.
It creates a much more immersive and engaging experience for the listener without them even realizing it.
So it's all about creating that feeling of being there in the moment, right?
Yes. Authenticity. Making the listener feel like they're right there in the concert hall with the orchestra, or like immersed in the scene you're trying to create with your music.
I like that, creating sonic worlds.
Right. And that's what makes tools like EastWest Symphonic Orchestra and Hollywood choirs so powerful for composers and producers. They give you the building blocks to create something truly believable and engaging.
That's awesome. But okay, real talk for a sec.
What's that?
Software this powerful, this detailed.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of hard to learn, right?
That's a fair point. These are pro-level tools, so yeah, they do take some time to really master.
So it's kind of a commitment.
It is an investment, But the payoff is huge.
Okay, I can see that.
Once you figure out how to really leverage the depth and flexibility of these libraries, you'll be blown away by what you can create.
So it's not just about the money. It's about putting in the time to really learn the ins and outs of the software.
Exactly. Think of it as an investment in your own creativity. The more you explore and experiment with these tools, the more you'll discover about your own musical voice.
And that brings us back to this limited time offer from audio plug-in deals, right?
For sure. If you're even a little bit curious about orchestral and choral sounds,
Yeah.
this is such a good opportunity to just jump in, especially at this price.
Seriously, it's a steal.
Imagine having a full symphony orchestra and a professional-grade choir at your fingertips for less than the price of a single high-end plug-in.
I mean, how can you say no to that?
It really is a no-brainer, especially for those who always wanted to experiment with these sounds but maybe thought it was out of reach.
Too expensive or too complicated?
Exactly. This deal opens up so many doors.
I love that. More music for everyone.
Right. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's like the one big takeaway you want listeners to remember about this bundle?
Ooh, good question.
I think the biggest thing is to not underestimate the power of high-quality recordings.
Oh, yeah.
The impact they can have on your music is massive.
Yeah.
These tools go beyond just giving you sounds, you know.
It's about more than just the notes.
Exactly. They give you the tools to tell stories, evoke emotions, create entire worlds with your music. And in the final part, we're going to shift gears a bit.
Oh, yeah. What are we talking about?
We're going to look at some specific examples of how these tools can be used in different musical contexts.
Ooh, like what?
Everything. Film scoring, electronic music production, even indie folk. You name it.
Can't wait. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the technical stuff and like why this bundle is such a great deal.
Right.
But now I want to get practical.
Let's do it.
How can people actually use these tools, in their own music?
Well, the possibilities are kind of endless, right?
True, true.
It really depends on what kind of music you're making, what your goals are. But for example, let's say you're working on a really epic cinematic track.
Okay.
You could use the symphonic orchestra to build this huge sweeping string arrangement.
Ooh, I like it.
And then you could layer in the Hollywood choirs, for those big dramatic vocal swells during like key moments in the song.
I can hear it now, chills. But okay, that's kind of the obvious use case, right? Like the big Hollywood sound.
Yeah.
What about something more like, I don't know, an indie folk song? Would these tools still be useful for that?
Absolutely. You could use individual instruments from the orchestra to add like texture and depth.
Ooh, interesting.
Maybe a solo oboe for a melancholic melody, or some delicate harp arpeggios to create a dreamy atmosphere.
Ooh, I like that.
You could even use the choir in a more subtle way, like just a hint of ethereal vocal harmonies.
So you don't have to go full-on epic, bombastic every time.
Nope, not at all. You can get super creative and use these sounds in really subtle ways.
It's amazing how versatile they are.
Totally. It all depends on your vision,
So it's not just about the sound, it's about how you use it.
Exactly. And speaking of different ways to use it, think about film scoring.
Oh, yeah.
You could use the orchestra to build tension during a suspenseful scene,
Ooh, yeah.
or underscore a romantic moment with those lush strings.
I'm getting chills again.
And with Word Builder too, you could have the choir sing specific phrases.
Whoa, like dialogue?
Yeah. Or even, lyrics in different languages. It's like adding another layer of storytelling to your soundtrack.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
It is. And it's not just for film scores either.
Oh, really?
Think about electronic music producers.
Okay.
They can totally blend these orchestral and choral elements with synths and drum machines.
Ooh, I never thought about that, but it makes sense.
Right. Create these really unique genre-bending soundscapes.
Like a symphony meets dubstep.
Exactly. The point is to experiment and have fun with it.
Don't be afraid to break the rules.
Yeah, right. Because with a tool as powerful as this bundle, the only limit is your own imagination.
Love that. So as we're wrapping up here, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's maybe on the fence about this deal?
If you're even a little bit curious, just go for it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment, to see where these sounds take you.
Just dive in.
Exactly. This deal is a rare chance to get your hands on some incredible tools at a ridiculously good price.
And who knows, maybe it'll spark your next musical masterpiece.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
All right, folks, well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive into the world of orchestral and choral music production.
It was fun.
It really was. And remember, this deal from Audio Plugin Deals is only around for a limited time.
Don't miss out.
Head over to their website, check it out before it's gone.
And
And until next time, keep creating, keep exploring.
keep those speakers bumping.